Hey guys, Tyler Hannes here with Sparrow Expeditions, and today I'm going to be showing you how to tie a really simple yet very effective fly pattern. This is the Zebra Midge. So I'm going to be tying this fly in a size 18 nymph hook and a 5mm copper bead. My thread I'm using is Danville's 70 denier 6/0 thread. I'm using this kind of like maroon color because it really goes well with the copper bead, I feel like. So I'll just start by simply wrapping down my hook shank to about halfway down the bend of the hook here. You gotta be careful with these thinner threads. I'm one who will break them pretty often, and then it is a pain to get back through the bobbin, and then, to keep going without retying the fly entirely can be tricky. But so as you can see, I wrapped just to about the middle of the bend there. I'll trim this, and next you're going to want to take a piece of wire, preferably pretty thin. I'm going to use silver. I like how it looks with the copper. Some people just tie it in on the back. The reason I went so thin up here with my thread is I can take this wire now and actually put it through the hole of the bead to go back out the front of the hook. This will hold it in place real well, and ensure that your whole body of the fly is even and nice and thin. So I'll tie that in the back here and wrap my way up to the bead, making sure that I'm even and do not have a bulky body on this fly. You want this to be very thin. It's a minimal fly. There's a couple variations of this I will show you. Those are all up near the bead though. But yeah, I'm just going to slowly wrap my way up. I'm kind of going slow because I don't want to break my thread there. But now that I got that, I'm going to wrap my wire as even as possible. I use this, I don't even remember what this tool is called. I use this little tool here. This you can literally find probably Amazon, eBay. I mean, I would tell you what it's called, but I don't even remember. But I'm going to wrap my thread as even as, or my wire as even as possible. Try to make sure I'm even on the bottom as well. The spacing of your wire, I mean, that's personal preference. I'll change it up sometimes with different flies. I'll have some with less ribs, some with more, but this one's just about where I normally go. So, might be hard to see. This is a pretty thin wire, but I'm going to tie that wire in here. Make sure it's nice and secure. And I'm going to take this, and I prefer to what people call helicopter this wire off here. We're going to twist it around, and it will break off right at that hook shank, and I'm going to do the same with the top here. Sometimes a little harder here because you got less wire, but as you can see, that broke off real nicely. So now I'm going to, well, honestly, if a lot of times this is where you finish and you just finish your fly from here, but I am going to show you guys a couple of variations of this. One of them is taking a piece of Peacock Hearl and wrapping that behind the bead. So I'm not going to do a lot. You want to keep this, again, this is a very small fly, minimal. So I'm just going to take my piece of pheasant Hearl, or Peacock Hearl, I always call it pheasant Hearl. Do one loose wrap and pull to where I don't have a bunch of excess in the front of the hook. Wrap that in. Just do a little behind the bead. I'm not going to do a lot of this. I want to keep this fly small. So I just did probably 3-4 wraps there, and then I'm going to wrap behind that to tie it in. Twice behind. I'll go last time here. Trim that off nice and close. And Now you're ready to whip finish. I'm actually going to take this apart now and show you one more variation I like to do. I know a lot of people don't do this and never have tried this, but I really like how it looks on the Zebra Midges. So I'm going to take a small, teeny bit of dubbing material. This is just silver ice dubbing. I mean, a little bit, guys. You really don't want to overdo this, and you'd be surprised how little will go a long way with this material. So I'm going to spin this dubbing on my thread here. As you can see, I have a very small amount. Okay, so once you have that spun on, you're just gonna do the same thing you did with the Hearl, wrap it behind the bead, and I even maybe did a little too much, but that gives it a nice looking head there behind the bead. I'm gonna kind of try to make sure this isn't in the way of the bead. I'm gonna wrap, behind the bead a couple times, making sure all my dubbing is back. In the water, that will kind of shrink down, and it's real buggy in the underwater. So I'm gonna whip finish this fly between the dubbing and the bead to ensure that it doesn't get in the way when you're trying to tie this on your line or whatever. So I'm gonna go one, shoot. 6 wraps. And I'm actually going to trim this dubbing a little bit. I don't want so much hanging out, honestly. Most people will have what's called dubbing brush. I'm cheap and I don't have that. Should be good enough. And sometimes if I really want to get some of that, fuzz out of there, like you see back here, it's going to mess this fly up because I have the dubbing, but say I didn't have the dubbing and I just had that fuzz back there, I will take a lighter, if I can find mine over here. Here it is. And I'll just go on each side of the hook. It'll kind of melt that stuff right down. Not too close. You don't want to burn your fly. Yeah, that got everything a little neater. Could even do a little more. Okay. So yeah, that has got that looking pretty good here. That is it, guys. So there's your Zebra Midge with a couple different variations. I'll tie this anywhere from a size 16 to a size 20. Super good fly for rainbows, brown trout, cutthroat. So I hope you guys found that tutorial somewhat helpful. That fly has many different styles and many different variations you could do. I showed you a couple there, but I'm sure there's many more out there. But you can fish this fly, a double fly, one and then another color as a dropper, or a lot of times I like to do this with a bead. But fish it under a small indicator, and you should have a lot of fun with this fly and catch a lot of fish. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Comment down below on ways I can improve my tutorials. I really appreciate the input, and stay tuned for more fly tying videos in the near future. See you guys.